I want to tell you a story about a young professional who struggles with work-life balance. Sarah was extremely bright. She had worked her way up from administrative assistant to being the vice president of operations for this organization. Now, Sarah was having a problem with her balance. She would take work home, she would get stressed out, she would never leave the office, she was always on call, and she took pride in that. That was a really important value of hers, to be of value to the company and the value to her peers and her boss. And so she dug in and she got a lot of enjoyment from it, until she didn't. When trying to work with her and figure out what was going on, we came to the conclusion that because she didn't have the proper credentials for that position, in fact, she didn't have a bachelor's degree, which was an internal challenge that she was having with herself. No one cared. No one even knew that she didn't have a bachelor's degree. But to her, it was, she needed to make up for that. So what she did is she worked crazy hours and she was always available. Everybody loved Sarah until she started dropping out. You started seeing emotional outbursts. You started seeing frustration about tasks not getting done. What we did is we worked with her to try to own her own personal power and her own confidence. With time, she did improve. Now, what happened was she would improve for about 6 months or 8 months, and then 8 months later, she would find herself under another pile of work that everybody relied on her to do, and she would even take on more responsibilities. Now, Sarah couldn't say no, and she could only say yes. To her, saying no was being uncooperative and something she couldn't do. Saying yes gave her a lot of fulfillment in that moment, and then she went back and made herself ill with too much work. The fact was, in this situation, her employer didn't want her to do that. They wanted her to be in balance. They wanted her to be in balance with her life. They wanted her to be in balance at work. They wanted her to constrain her time. They wanted her to work more efficiently. Now, the other thing about Sarah is that Sarah didn't work efficiently. If she had to do some analysis, she would overanalyze everything. She couldn't deal with ambiguity. She couldn't deal with, even though she was extremely bright and she knew the information, she knew what she needed to do, she would pour over and over-prepare for everything. That over-preparation was part of the reason she didn't have balance. My point is that Sarah was doing this to herself. And there are thousands of stories like this. Work-life balance is about you taking personal agency for your time, your commitment, and the things you do. It doesn't mean you do a shoddy job. It doesn't mean you don't work hard. It doesn't mean you don't put in the time that's required under the agreements that you made with those employers. But it does mean that you have some control over what those parameters are. If you like this content, hit the subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing you at the next video.